Welcome to the Gita in Action podcast. My name's Radha. I'm here with our family of seekers, and we're reading through the Bhagavad Gita, verse by verse, really studying its meaning and its relevance to our lives, and our hearts are being transformed. And so it's so nice to be here with you all. Before we start today, I want to just plug, I want to just talk for 30 seconds about this not-for-profit that I'm starting with a group of leaders. And what it is, it's a nonprofit. What we do is we curate spaces to help people feel more grounded, connected, and uplifted in consciousness. And this is anything we do programs in Pittsburgh. We partner with different organizations and also retreats, international retreats. We just got back from Costa Rica. That was our first Conscious Collective retreat. And we're going to Guatemala in November, a ladies' retreat. We'll do that there. And we're doing a pilgrimage in February, along with other various retreats. We have a women's retreat at New Vrindavan in April. Anyway, all kinds of things. You can follow us on Instagram. If you just type in my name, Radha Manawis, it'll come up, or Conscious Collective, consciouscollective.life. And please follow us and share with your friends. And if you want to get involved in what we're doing, there are plenty of service opportunities. This is a collective, of movement towards higher consciousness, individually and collectively. So please join our mission, and however you want to get involved, we'd love to have you. Okay, I think I did that in 30 seconds. So thank you. And let's get right into the Bhagavad Gita. Today we are on text 35, chapter 10, text 35. Chapter 10, text 35. And before we start, Shraddhanjali, do you want to say our prayers for us?
Sure. Om Jnanarthimirandasya Jana Jana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Sitaram ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Hi.
Gaur Premanande,
Thank you.
Haribol.
Thank you. Okay, so we are in
And
text 1034
10:35.
or 1035. Okay, 1035. I'll share my screen. And when you're ready, Stella, Shraddhanjali, you can read it for us.
Grihat samatata saunam Gayatri chandasam maham Manasnam marga shrisoham Ritunam kusamakaraha. Of the hymns in the Samaveda, I am the Brihat Sama, and of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am Marga Sirsa, November, December. And of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring.
Nice, thank you. So we are finishing up this section. I think we'll finish this section today. It's been a section of around 20 verses. where Krishna takes the one among the many to point to the one among or above the many. So again, he'll take a specific category of things and he'll point out the greatest among that category and say, that manifestation, that is me. And where this all is taking us is just deeper connection and realization that everything is God. Everything is God. Everything comes from God. Everything great we see, everything not so great we see. All of the opulences that stand out in this world are actually manifestations of God. And when we can realize this, then our vision, then the way that we relate with the world starts to change. And it becomes a place that we can connect with God no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, just through this simple change in consciousness. And this is called Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti means special manifestation or opulence. And yoga means to connect. So we're connecting with God through these special manifestations. And for us, some of these things that we read, they might not feel so like relevant, or we might not even know what they mean. It's a different culture, it's a different time, but the principle is the same. And we can do this in our own lives. And that when we look around, when we see something with great power, with great beauty, with great majesty, something that just stands out among the many, we understand that this is a special manifestation of God. Okay, that this is God. And it really changes the way that we relate and our consciousness around it. Life just becomes sweet when we see everything like this. We don't have to be in competition. We don't have to be in a place of scarcity. We can just be in a place of constant awe and appreciation. Because that's what spirituality is, right? Just being in a constant state of awe. We look around at the world and it's just amazing. It's amazing. So this is where Krishna's taking us with all of this. So we just go through each one of these one by one just to understand the context a little bit so that it helps us to really connect to the principle of what's happening here. So Krishna already mentioned earlier that among the Vedas, he's the Sama Veda. Okay? And then the Sama Veda is really special because it's not just philosophical, it's musical. Okay, it's filled with these beautiful melodies that are meant to be sung, and so it's a spiritual knowledge that's expressed through music. And among these, all of these melodies, Krishna highlights one in particular, the Bharat Sama. So this one is especially known for its deep and beautiful melody. It is traditionally sung at midnight when everything's quiet and still. It's just a very powerful melody. Okay. So then he says of poetry, I am Gayatri. So the essence here is that there's different rhymes, different meters, different ways that sacred sound is expressed. And among them, the Gayatri is considered especially powerful and beautiful. So Krishna's pointing to something elevated, refined, deeply impactful. It's like saying among all forms of expression, I am the most powerful, the most uplifting. That's what's happening here. Then he shifts to something that may be a little bit more relatable. He says, of months, I am Margasira, this is a time of year when nature is especially generous. This is like when it's a time when the earth is really offering its abundance. I think this is like fall time in India. Crops are growing, there's nourishment, there's a sense of fullness. It's like those moments in life when things just feel supported, when things are flowing. So Krishna is saying that abundance, that nourishment, that's also me. And then he says, of seasons, I am flower bearing spring. This one's a little easier to connect with. When spring comes, everything starts blooming. Flowers come out, the world feels alive again. We're starting to come into that time. And there's just beauty everywhere. There's hope, there's freshness, there's new energy. Everything just feels vibrant. Krishna's saying that beauty, that aliveness, that's a glimpse of me. So again, the point of all this, it's not just information, it's training our vision, and we should see it like that. To start seeing this beauty and abundance, the powerful expressions of sound and wisdom. These things are not random. They're reflections of something deeper. They're reminders of Krishna. They're meant to be reminders of Krishna. And when we start to see the world like that, then our mind naturally begins to connect. And this is the special gift that Krishna's given us. We can see great things of this world and try to take them for ourselves, try to own them, try to possess them, try to enjoy them. We have the option. We can do that. Or we can see great things in this world and we can appreciate them as special manifestations of Krishna, as special gifts. I know Martine lives by the ocean. She just sent us this beautiful soundtrack yesterday and you could just hear the ocean. It was so beautiful. I listened to the whole thing, Martine, and I just had it on. And we can appreciate things like that. We can see greatness. The ocean, it's so calming. It makes us feel so relaxed. And in that, we can foster this appreciation of where it all came from. Okay? And Krishna says that in this verse. One of the things he says, of bodies of water, I am the ocean. So how great to look out at the ocean and feel connected to something deeper, something greater, something bigger. That's what Krishna's trying to lead us to here. And it's a gift because just think when we do that, even just like how uplifted we feel in that moment. We feel we understand we're not alone. Hey, there's something so much greater, so much bigger that's here for me. That's my shelter, that's my best friend, that's my maintainer, that's my sustainer. Right? All of these things can come about just by walking around the world and witnessing these things. So let's try to shift our consciousness. It's just an experiment and see how that feels. Like just try it on for a day. Should we move on to 36? When you're ready, Shraddhanjali.
Yutam chala yatam asmi. Tejas tejas vinamaham. Jayosmi vyasaso sayosmi. Sattvam sattvam matamaham. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid I am splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong.
Yeah. So this verse is interesting because Krishna starts pointing to things that we don't usually think of as spiritual, like like the gambling of cheats, which can sound a little confusing at first, like why would Krishna associate himself with something like that? So the point here is not that cheating or gambling is good for us. It's not meant that we should go out and gamble and think this is divine. That's not what he's saying. He's highlighting something deeper. He's pointing to the skill, to the intensity, to the cleverness within something. That's the quality he's highlighting here. And when we think about gambling, if most people are known statistically, they're more likely to lose than win. If people were constantly winning, like Vegas wouldn't exist. And we know how grand Vegas is because it's built off of this. It's built off of people losing. But yet people are still just like drawn to it. It's kind of amazing. People are just so drawn to it. And that not only do they go, like they're excited to go. It's like they go willingly. Even though statistically they're likely going to lose. So this is like a different level of being pulled in. It's almost like being captivated. When I say it's amazing, I mean it's kind of remarkable that the power like this exists that is so obviously a cheating power, but people are so drawn to it. Okay, so Krishna's saying even something like this kind of extraordinary force, this pull, this cleverness, this capacity, this intensity of influence, this also comes from him. And maybe some of us aren't pulled towards gambling, but there's probably been things in life that we've been especially pulled towards that maybe weren't the greatest for us. And we've all felt how strong that feels. Like I can think of things that I would have like cut off my right arm to acquire, or people or whatever it is. It's things that we're just so drawn to. So we should understand this intensity of influence. This also comes from God. This is also Krishna. Then he shifts. He says, "Of the splendid, I am the splendor." Same thing. I mean, the same powerful force that he's talking about here. People, and we all know people like this, people that just have something about them, like a presence, an energy, a charisma. It's like you can't even explain it, but you just feel it in their presence, like you're just drawn to them. So Krishna is saying that spark, that radiance, that magnetism, this is also a reflection of me. This is so sweet, isn't it? Because it also can keep us from like worshiping people because we have a tendency to do that. We've talked about that, like celebrities or the next Instagram star, like we become kind of like obsessed with them. But if instead of seeing them independently, we could see them as a spark of Krishna's glory, then that relationship, even if the relationship is just over Instagram, but it becomes spiritualized. It becomes something that brings us closer to God instead of something that makes us, feel inadequate or out of control or all of these things that happen when we get carried away with material energy, just completely infatuated and off the mark. So Krishna's trying to train us in this because we all know when we feel connected to God, this is ultimately what brings us to the highest in every regard. It brings us the most steadiest, it brings us the most clarity, it brings us the most compassion, acceptance, right, fulfillment. So it's quite beautiful what he's doing here. It's like a secret map of the world. We don't have to relate to the world in the way that we're used to relating to the world. And we can relate to the world at a higher place of consciousness. And in this, we're pulled up. It's very sweet. So then he says, I am victory. I am victory. So we think about this feeling of winning, whether it's sports or a big moment, achieving something you worked hard for. I know my husband is super competitive. I can right now as I'm reading this, I can see the smile on his face if he wins something. It's just like a board game or whatever it is. He loves winning, this man. And there's this rush, it's exhilaration, it's excitement, this like I did it energy. And people chase it. People sacrifice a lot for this feeling. The discipline, the training that goes into to acquiring to attaining this feeling. It's big. So Krishna's saying that feeling of victory, that high, that's also a glimpse of me. So imagine the next time that you feel like, wow, I did it. I won. Immediately, instead of taking all of that credit onto yourself, which can, inflate the ego and give us this feeling of superiority. That's the word, the opposite of, anyway, it can make us feel higher in a way that,
Superiority.
yes, thank you. Superiority. Yeah, which in the end doesn't really bring us higher. Right? It's like this false sense of higher. We can get so stuck in the ego that's what happens, or we can see this victory. This is a spark of Krishna splendor. This is a special manifestation of Krishna. Let's give all the credit to Krishna. And in that, we're connecting ourselves to Source, which is ultimately bringing us higher, much higher than we could go by winning a race. And in material life, that feeling, when we take that feeling of victory for ourselves, it comes and then it goes. It's just like we're just chasing it again and again. We're just jumping from the next high to the next high. Okay, I won this. What's next? What am I going to win next? Okay, I got there. What am I going to achieve next? Right? It's just like this is material. This is the material game. We've all experienced it. I'm thinking because we're all here, we could probably all relate to that. Just chasing again and again. But in spiritual life, when we connect through service and devotion, the sense of fulfillment is steady. It's not just a temporary high. We're not like stuck just chasing high after high. It's steady because that's what connection to source is. So it's a much bigger bang for our buck when we can start to see things in this light. Stop taking things so cheaply. Stop taking things for our ego. Not that that's bad, but it's just not going to bring us as high and as steady. Then he says, I am adventure. You see this in people who love things like skydiving or extreme sports, like anything that pushes the edge. We were just in Costa Rica. We had a day where the men went off and did something, and the women went to the beach. And the men went on ATV, or they went like on four-wheelers. And when they got back, they were like all so close and bonded. They were like best friends after this experience. We're like, what happened out there? I remember my husband's like, we almost died. It was crazy. Like, I guess there's like so much dust, they couldn't see what was going on. He's like, at one point, I thought I was running into a wall. It was really just dust. I mean, it was like this crazy experience of adventure. And my husband loves things like this, especially again, these things makes him feel alive. It's just like this rush of being just fully awake and present. Krishna's saying, that's also me. So this is kind of amazing too. Like you can still go out and have these incredible adventures, but just understand them in perspective. Use these adventures to grow spiritually, to understand this sense of aliveness, this presence that I'm feeling right now. This is Krishna. Sweet. And then he says, I'm the strength of the strong. It's the strength itself, whether it's physical, mental, emotional. This is power, this ability, this capacity. It's not coming from us independently. It's an opulence. It's something that we've been given. We should understand that. To the degree we try to take credit for it, we will suffer. Some of the people that are the most beautiful, the most famous, suffer the most because they haven't come to understand this principle, which is this is not mine. This is borrowed. This is Krishna's. Because to the degree that we think it's ours, we become attached, we become possessive, we become anxious over how we're going to hold on to it and what's going to happen when it goes. Because we're overly identified with it. It's painful. And we sometimes think that, oh, if I'm just a little stronger, if I'm just a little more beautiful, if I'm a little more intelligent, I'll be happy. No, no, no. This is misthinking. This is stinking thinking. Because the reality is, to the degree that whatever we have, we understand that it's not ours, that it's actually Krishna's, we will be free. We will be liberated. And we will be connected, which is where real fulfillment lies. I mean, we know that. We experience that even to a small degree here in material life. But to think the next level up is spiritual relationships. That's really the game changer. That shifts all the perspective. So this is the bigger takeaway here is Krishna's not just in the obviously spiritual things. He's showing us his influence in beauty, in victory, in excitement, in strength. All of these powerful experiences that we're drawn to, they're reflections of him. Sweet. Does anybody want to share anything before we move on? Haven't given you.
I when watching the Olympics, I thought of that verse.
Uh, yeah,
The strength of the strong, how strong they are in their legs and arms and figure skating and skiing and
it's amazing. It's like otherworldly with these athletes. Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you, Stella.
I started, well, it reminded me of 7-8 through 7-11. I am the taste of water at this. So, um, but I also just thought when we were chatting that there can be a tendency for me to say, I am not adequate. I am
Mm,
not enough. I am deficient in whatever way. And if indeed I do believe I'm a spark of the divine, how egotistical and um, not it's like pride in reverse, that I will actually believe that I am not these things. And it's interesting. I also, when you use the analogy of looking at people on Instagram that look like they've got everything, it can be a tendency to almost take other people's mundane splendors and try to attach it to Krishna, and you get I'll speak for myself, I can get somewhat warped if I believe that's the limit of Krishna, kind of thing. I don't
mm,
know if that makes any sense, but it's important for me to just, as you said in the beginning, just have this incredible awe
yeah,
about everything and to just be. And I think Kalachandji said this beauty in being and being present and not um, and not having to figure it all out all the time. So thank you,
yeah.
Krishna.
Wow, so many beautiful points there. Thank you, Nancy. Really nice. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Okay, we can move on. Let's go to the next one.
Radha,
Yes.
Hare Krishna, do you mind uh, going into more details about what you shared about not feeling enough or
Mm,
thinking we're not doing it right? I kind of couldn't
yeah.
understand, and it resonated with me, so I would like to understand it more.
Yeah, that was a beautiful point that she brought up, right? It's the opposite coin of when we get trapped in the ego. Because the ego, we're making it all about me. It's all about me. Whatever there is, it's mine. If I don't have it, then it's a reflection of me. And this is the root of our suffering. So when we can learn to flip that, right, and zoom out so that we're not the center, but we understand that even anything that we have or we don't have is Krishna's special mercy. And ultimately, all comes from Krishna, as does all of the things that my neighbor or my friend has, or this person on Instagram. It's all just part of Krishna. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with them. My rightful position is just a servant of the center. So when we can really get to that level of realization, then the shackles that we have from our ego are released. And that's when we can really feel free and liberated and connected the way that we're meant to be. But because we forget who we actually are, which is just small parts of Krishna, just sparks of his splendor. When we forget that, we make it all about us. And we're either elated and prideful because we have so much, or we're feeling down and deflated because we don't. And this is a symptom of the ego. This is the narrative of the ego. So as spiritualists, we want to get out of that level of consciousness. It's a low level of material consciousness. And we want to understand our rightful positions, who we actually are in relationship to God. And that everything we have and we don't have is Krishna's special mercy. And it's all intended to offer back to him. And when we can see it like that, That's real freedom. And that's what I think Nancy is sharing with us here. And so this is kind of like double clicking on the meaning of these verses.
Thank you.
Does
Just
that
a
make
one,
sense, Colby?
yeah, it does. Just one quick follow-up. So I heard you saying that me thinking I'm this or that is my ego and me making myself center of the, center of the universe. How do you see that same thing when it comes to like my bad habits, my bad, is that, are we also saying this is also a reflection of Krishna versus something within me?
Well, ultimately, Krishna's the source of everything. Everything that we see in this world, good, bad, comes from Krishna. And Krishna put us in this world. I mean, actually, we wanted to be in this world because we wanted to enjoy separately. And because Krishna honors our free will, he gives us that opportunity. And in that world, in this world, there's a set of laws that govern this experience for us called karma. And and in that, we have this free will and this opportunity to experience on our own and to be independent. And so if you have a bad habit, when we talk about a bad habit, really these are things that take us away from Krishna, that reaffirm our material identities. That's really what a bad habit is. It brings us lower. It brings our consciousness lower. Krishna gives us the free will to do that. Now, and this is beautiful. This comes from Krishna. At the same time, this isn't what he wants for us. He wants us to turn away from him, to turn towards him. He wants us to make decisions that bring us closer to him and that elevate our consciousness. That's what he wants for us. And he gives us that opportunity. But it's up to us. Because if it wasn't up to us, if we didn't have that free will, there wouldn't be love. And this is what Krishna's really after, is our hearts. And so the decision is up to us. But Krishna facilitates it all, and he facilitates it by giving us life, by giving us giving us material nature. I mean, this is all Krishna. But that doesn't mean that that's what he wants for us. He wants us to turn towards him. But that's also our decision, and that's the beauty of it. And that teaches us what real love is. Anybody ever been in a relationship where they're like, do that, it's so controlling. It's like love's not there. That's control. That's fear. No, Krishna gives us it all. And he says, the choice is up to you. We can choose bad habits, things that create distance between us and Krishna, or we can choose things that elevate us. Ultimately, it's all Krishna. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Nice question. Thank you, Poppy. Okay, should we move on? I think we are 37.
Krishnam Vasudevosmi Pandavanam Dhanajaya Muninam Apam Vasaha Kavinam Ushana Kavya. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudev, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa, and among great thinkers, I am Ushana.
Thank you. So there's a lot of people in this verse, specific people. And Krishna's again showing us how even among individuals, there's standout examples that reflect his opulence. So first he says, of the descendants of Rishi, I am Vasudev. So it's understood here that he's referring to Balaram, who's Krishna's expansion. So the idea is that even among divine personalities, among powerful lineages, there are certain personalities who especially embody strength, presence, divine power. And Krishna's saying that excellence, that prominence, that's also me. And this is nice because it's natural for us to be attracted to these things. We're going to be attracted to that person in the room who exudes these things to a very high degree. This is natural. But Krishna's just saying, see that and turn towards me. That he's giving us this guidebook in the form of the Bhagavad Gita to teach us how to turn back towards him. We have the choice. We can see these things and do whatever we want. We can see these things and chase them for our own sense pleasure. We can see these things and feel less than. We can see these things and feel competitive. Whatever it is. Or we can see these things and see Krishna. And that's with the Bhagavad Gita, he's giving us the tools to do this and saying, this is where you will experience the utmost connection and fulfillment. If you see these things and think of me, I'll give you the choice. You can see these things and try to use them for your own advantage, your own, pleasure. Or you can see these things in connection to me, and these things will bring you closer to me. And this is the entire material existence. We have this option, we have this choice every single day. Are we going to make a choice that brings us closer to Krishna, or are we going to make a choice that brings us further away? Every single day we have this choice. Then he says, of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. So why does he say Arjuna? Because Arjuna is strong and talented, but he also has a special relationship with Krishna. Okay, he's devoted, he's surrendered, he's willing to listen and be guided. We've seen this in the Gita. So Krishna's highlighting not just his ability, but this devotion. It's like saying among all qualified people, the one who is deeply connected stands out the most. So that's what he's saying here with the Arjuna example. And then he says, of the sages, I am Vyasa. So Vyasa compiled the Vedas. He organized all this vast spiritual knowledge, and he gave it to people in a way that they could actually access. So this is an incredible contribution. It's like taking this overwhelming amount of wisdom and making it understandable for everyone. So Krishna is saying that kind of genius, clarity, contribution, that's also a reflection of me. Isn't this like just such a relief? It's like whatever you got was given to you by Krishna. It's not yours. You don't have to worry about if it's enough or if it's too much or whatever it is. Whatever you got, it was given to you by Krishna. And the best use of what you got is to give it back to Krishna. And to the degree that you do that, you will be happy and fulfilled in this life. This is what he's saying here. This is what we should take from this. This is like the secret sauce to life. Learn to see it all as special manifestations of Krishna. So these aren't verses we just like skip over. Like, oh, I get these in the Gita. They're all the same. There's not much to get from these. No. If we really meditate on what these verses are trying to teach us, if we really pray for a level of realization here, these verses have the power to completely transform the way that we relate with the world in a way that frees us from it. And that's what Krishna wants for us. So then he says, among great thinkers, I am Usana. So this one, Usana is actually connected with the demons. He's their priest. So why is Krishna mentioning him? Because even though the demons aren't aligned spiritually, they still recognize power. They still want strong guidance, effective rituals, capable leadership. So for that, they choose the best. So here Krishna is showing us even in unexpected places where there's intelligence, influence, capabilities, that excellence still comes from him. We can all think about people like that too. Leaders that are maybe not aligned spiritually, but they still, for whatever reason, have a high level of influence, or intelligence or capability. These opulences still come from Krishna. So again, Krishna's helping us see, in devotion, in wisdom, in strength and divine expansion, even in sharp intelligence in unexpected places, where we see this exceptional ability, this influence, this excellence. It's a reflection of Krishna's opulence. And let's as we walk around our days today, we'll experience this firsthand. We'll come across people, we'll come across things, we'll come across products, whatever it is, in your work life, that you're like, wow, this is really exceptional. This is really next level. We should understand this came from Krishna. And if that can be our next thought, if we can train ourselves such that that's our next thought, our consciousness will be transformed. Instead of our next thought being, well, why can't I do this? Or what is this gonna mean for my life? Are they gonna get the promotion? Does this mean I'm second fiddle? Right? Or, oh, let me meet that person and become close with that person. Right? All of these thoughts that just bound us, shackle us tighter to material existence. Right? Let's just put those thoughts on the back burner and let's bring our consciousness somewhere higher, something that frees us from the shackles of material existence. And that is understanding their source, understanding where all these opulences came from, because that is the point of them all. That is actually the point of them all. In the moment, we may think differently. We may make them about us because that's our material tendency. We make everything about us. But ultimately, they have nothing to do with us and everything to do with the Creator. And to the degree that we understand that, we will be free and happy. It's quite simple, but it's also quite difficult. But this simple practice, just redirecting our appreciation back to the source, is liberating. Okay, should we do one more? This is the last in this section, and then the last 4 verses of the chapter are kind of like summaries. Do just one more? Is that okay? 38? If anybody has anything they want to share, I'd love to hear from you too. So please feel like you could share.
Dando, excuse me, Dando, oh, my voice. Excuse me. Dando Dhamma Yatamasmi, Nitir Asmi, Jigitsatam, Maunam, Chevasmi Guyanam, Gyanam Batamaham. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment. And of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence. And of the wise, I am the wisdom.
Thank you. So he says, Krishna says, among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment. So what does this mean? This means that when things go off track,
Chantal?
when there's chaos or injustice or harm, there has to be something that brings things back into alignment. Rules by themselves don't always work. Guidance by itself doesn't always work. Sometimes there needs to be accountability. So Krishna's saying that force that restores order, that's also a reflection of me. And then he says, among those who seek victory, I am morality. And this one is powerful because in this world we often hear things like do whatever it takes to win, or all is fair in love and war. Like these are popular sayings that we hear. And this is how a lot of people operate. But Krishna's saying that's not the highest way. Like, yes, we want success. Yes, we can want to win, but how we get there matters. Victory that comes through integrity, honesty, alignment. This kind of victory is actually higher because it doesn't just give you a result, an external result, but it keeps your inner state clean. And so this is the highest ultimately. Among those who seek victory, I am mortality, or I am morality. I am morality. Okay, then he says, of secret things, I am silence. So if you've ever known something you weren't supposed to share, that could be tricky. It could be hard. You have this urge to tell someone, or to feel important or to be in the know. These things are natural. But the truth is, the only way to truly keep things secret is silence. There's strength in that. Not everything needs to be spoken, not everything needs to be shared. So this restraint, this ability to hold something quietly is also a kind of power. This is nice too because it's giving us a glimpse into the Vedic living, even like the principles of Vedic society that make it harmonious. Then finally he says, among the wise I am wisdom. So what makes someone truly wise? It's not just information, it's not just knowledge, it's how they actually see things. It's their clarity, their discernment, their depth. When you really meet someone wise, there's just something about them. The way that they carry themselves, the way that they respond to things, the way that they understand life. This is real wisdom. So Krishna is saying that this wisdom itself, that quality that draws us in, that's a reflection of me. So in this verse, Krishna is helping us see him in order and accountability, integrity and action, restraint and silence, and true wisdom. So when we start to notice this, we don't just admire these qualities, we start to connect them back to their source. That's what we're trying to do here. And I've even started to realize that as a teacher, I'd get the most fulfillment by this. And this has become like affirming for me, and it's helped build my faith. Because it's easy to get into material consciousness and want to make everything about you. How many how many people came to my podcasts? How many people are liking this or want to do this but I'll tell you that to the degree you make it about yourself, it's just full of anxiety and suffering. I have realized that. And it's hard. It's a slippery slope. It's very easy to just slip into that consciousness. But to the degree that you make a conscious effort to just connect people with Krishna and you make that like your number one priority, everything becomes so sweet. Everything becomes so sweet. Like Popey is doing our social media and the kinds of conversations I get to have with her around this. It's so sweet, and I feel so uplifted. Just insane. Like it's just like this is the whole point of it. The whole point of this service even that you're doing is just that it connects you more with Krishna. We don't have to obsess over is this okay? Is this not? Is this just focus on your connection with Krishna and he will arrange the rest. And this is the way that I try to do the service too. Whatever service I'm doing. I'm not always the most successful at it, but I always try to bring it back to this. And what I've realized is that in this space, I feel the most steady, the most connected, the most clear, the most fulfilled. And I'm able to show up, I'm able to hold that presence. And it's through this alone. It's through this alone. This has been my realization. Yeah. So thank you all. Does anybody have any reflections that they would like to share?
I think you kind of answered it. I'm sorry for the background noise. I think you kind of shared. I had a question related to, do I take a step forward or wait for, to paraphrase this, but do I take a step forward for the magic to happen, or just wait for the magic to happen and then take a step? I think you kind of answered it in your share where you said, you know, step forward and then Krishna will put everything in order. Uh, yeah, thank you.
Yes, take a step forward and then Krishna will carry you 10 more steps forward. And that's like the dance that we're in. And it's beautiful. And for me too, sometimes I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, this is impossible. Nothing is going the way it's supposed to. And then I see some little like glimmer of hope. It's like Krishna will test us too. It's not always going to be like rainbows and butterflies, but he's always there to the degree that we're ready to see him, and that's our desire. It's much harder to see him when we're obsessed and infatuated with ourselves for the sake of ourselves. So it's a constant practice. And that's why we come together with, like-minded souls just like this and really try to imbibe these realizations, really try to break them down, make them real, make them relevant in our lives so that we can go out and practice. 'Cause that's what we're doing here. It's a practice field. What do you think, Aaron?
I really like what you just said about like if it's our desire to see Krishna everywhere, because I think sometimes it's like, okay, but how do I get to that next step, right? Like, because I'm just sitting here thinking like it's such a spectrum of things that are easy to see Krishna in and things that are not so easy. And I've already decided it's more of like a XY coordinate with four quadrants of like, things. I personally think things that are like really big, like the sky, the moon, the most beautiful sunset, like those are just like such like, you literally pause and you're like, oh, like God is so amazing. But then I think there's things that are, you put that much more effort into or feel you have more control over. Um, and sometimes those things are, they go well and it's easy to see Krishna in. And sometimes those things go well and it's easy to be like, that was me. And then I think there's the other quadrant of like the things that maybe you have some effort and endeavor towards, but they don't go well, they don't go your way. And I think maybe even like what Nancy was saying about low self-esteem is like we put all the negative in like one bucket of like, oh, it's material, and I think what Bhakti keeps teaching me is like nothing is so black and white like that. It's all so much more complicated. But I'm going to keep working on my four quadrants analogy.
Really nice. I like that. Thank you. Yeah, and it can be helpful too to think of something that's really difficult to see Krishna in, like that thing that's really triggering you or just like really not working out, and meditate on it and meditate on seeing Krishna in that and notice how that even changes your relationship with that thing or situation or person. That can be such a beautiful meditation. Oh, this is Krishna. And this is Krishna trying to teach me something, to show me something. I can get mad, I can take it to mean something about myself, whatever, or I can see that it's Krishna. And how does that shift my consciousness? How does that change my relationship with it? Yeah, really beautiful. Thank you. Really nice.
Hi, my turn, my turn, my turn, my turn.
What do you got for us, Kay?
About our Ramji, we are here to establish relationship with our Sri Ram, Sri Krishna. But instead of being servants, we want to be the enjoyer. And like you said in today's lecture, the more we think about, whatever I'm doing, am I being recognized? Am I getting this? Am I getting to the point where everybody is? That brings more and more anxiety, more and more suffering. So we just have to do what we have to do and then leave it all up to Krishna. So coming back to Ramji, uh, you know, Ramayan is so fascinating to me because Who is the best servant? I mean, we want to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. But here are so many examples, and of course, we don't learn it. I mean, I don't learn anything out of it. Like, okay, I admire so much Lakshman. He, as soon as Ramji says he's going to the forest, he's exiled, and Lakshman is not thinking even for a moment, and he's like, ready, I'm coming with you. That's it. Doesn't matter where you're going. And then next Bharat comes, and then Bharat is like, what? All this happened for me? Who says I want to be the enjoyer? And then he goes to get Ram, and then he gets the food dust. And of course, he's living in Nandigram. He's not even enjoying the opulences. Then who is more great servant? Shatrughna. Shatrughna is being the servant of the servant, serving Bharat. And then who is more big servant? Hanumanji. Hanumanji is doing so much. So we get to learn so much. We get so much inspiration from all that. So Shri Ram Jai
Wow.
Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Thank you.
Chai.
Wow.
Could I also share something about Ram
Please.
Navami?
Please.
I put together something last night, just a few paragraphs. This is a piece for we're going to Bhakti Center this evening to observe, and perhaps our Guru Maharaj will have to speak. So I put something together for him. So I'll just read it. It's very short. And it's my favorite part of the whole pastime of Lord Ram when they're building the bridge over to rescue Sita. So when Lord Ram went to rescue Sita, he had to cross the ocean, which he did over a bridge of stones laid by Hanuman and his great monkey army. And to contribute to the effort, a small squirrel was putting little grains of sand into the ocean. But Hanuman, the mighty servant of Ram, chastised the squirrel. What are you accomplishing with your little grains of sand? Can't you see that I'm throwing these huge boulders? Get out of my way. And the squirrel replied, but I want to serve Lord Rama too. Lord Rama overheard this exchange and rebuked Hanuman. This squirrel wants to serve me just like you, and he is serving to his capacity just as you are. In my eyes, you both are the same. And besides, I am the one who is making all the boulders float. Ultimately, I am the one who is doing everything. The qualification to engage in devotional service is simply one's sincere desire. One's material qualifications don't matter. The Lord doesn't require anyone's service. He just wants to see our mood of devotion. If one has a sincere desire to serve, that's enough. Whether one is an insignificant ant or spider or squirrel, or a great monkey like Hanuman, a powerful human being, or Lord Brahma himself, what the Lord sees is the living entity's sincere desire to serve.
Hmm. Beautiful. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Really nice. Okay, so let's make this auspicious day impactful. Let's use the spiritual potency of this day to really take shelter in Krishna, in Ram, and to upgrade, uplift, and connect. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you on Monday.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Ram. Hari Bol.
Haribo.